Okay, everyone. So in this lecture video, what we're going to be talking about is kind of taking your muscle tissue, again, everything that we talked about, how we build the muscle tissue, how we decide and talk about how the muscle contracts, all that stuff, and actually talk about kind of the functionality of the muscle tissue as a whole. So really like how your body is using that muscle and building it to get out certain kinds of performance. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about the types of skeletal muscle. Okay, essentially talking about the types of fibers that you have inside of your muscle tissue. Okay, not all fibers inside of your muscle tissue are going to behave the exact same way. Again, because there are different reasons why, or different needs for our muscles as say we're doing different activities. Right, some activities we need to do slowly that require a lot of power. Right, so our ability to say lift something. Right, and sometimes the fibers that we need to be very fast, right, enabling us to do something rather quickly, like a response, a reflex, something like that. So there are two types of fibers. The first type of fiber that you guys are going to see or that exists inside of your muscle is a fast fiber. Fast fibers are fast, right? That's kind of the best way to describe them, in that the fibers themselves can contract very, very quickly. Generally, they can contract in like 0.01 seconds or less, and most of them are even way faster than that. And the beauty of these fast fibers is that it allows us, again, that speed, that quick movement that we need if, say, something is chasing us and we need to run really, really fast, right? We're using those fibers as the majority of the structure that's providing us the compression that we need in order to get to where we need to go, okay? When we're talking about our muscle fibers, fast fibers constitute actually a majority of the muscle fibers that exist inside of our musculature, right? They can contract pretty fast. You can get a lot of movements, like total number of movements, very, very quickly, again, because they have very large reserves of glycogen, okay, which allows them to process materials really, really quickly. Fast fibers generally have a larger diameter, and they have fewer mitochondria overall, again, because they're not there for sustained energy use, right? They're there for fast, quick, kind of fight or flight responses from some ways, but they're there really just to kind of get that muscle fiber contracting as quickly as possible, okay? Because there is a strong or large number of these fast fibers, the strongest contractions you're going to have are due to these fast fibers contracting. Again, because relatively there are just way more of them than there are the other types of fibers. Okay, so again, fast fibers, again, the majority of that. Okay. When I say this here, when we're talking about the muscles being like the fight muscles, again, these are the response muscles that you're going to get to that fight or flight response. So again, because they're really fast, it's really good. It's just that they fatigue very easily. So these muscles, when you're using them a lot, will actually get pretty tired. Okay, they're not going to be able to do the contractions a lot. Okay, so this is why if you say are lifting something very, very quickly, or you're doing like a ton of jumping jacks or something, your muscles get tired really fast. Again, because they're not designed to have that sustained motion for a long period of time. They're there for kind of quick bouts of motion. Okay. And when I say here your fight muscles, like when we're talking about your fight or flight response, right? These are the muscles that you use to like fight back, right? They're there for really like quick motion. Okay. The other fiber that you have are slow fibers. Since you have fast ones, you're going to probably have slow ones. Slow fibers as a whole take longer to contract than your fast fibers, up to 3 times. So that can take like 0.03 seconds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in terms of fight or flight, that's a long time. The beauty of these muscles, though, is that they don't fatigue as quickly. They can contract for longer periods of time, and they can sustain contraction for a longer period of time, so they can be used more often. Overall, the fibers in these guys are going to be thinner than what you're going to get with your fast fibers, and they're going to be kind of specialized. There's some different things about them that make them unique. Okay, so those things all refer to their ability to utilize oxygen. Okay, so because slow fibers can take longer to contract, but they can contract harder and for longer, they require a different kind of oxygen supply, so actually more oxygen. So when we're talking about slow fiber muscles, those are going to have more capillaries embedded within them. They also have more myoglobin. So myoglobin is a molecule that's similar to like hemoglobin in your blood that binds to oxygen. So again, that prefix myo just refers to muscle. So this is actually muscle. This is a muscle specific molecule that binds to oxygen that leaves oxygen available in your muscles. So you have like your own little oxygen store inside of your muscles so that they can function longer. Okay, and because there is more oxygen supply available, you have more mitochondria in these muscles. So these muscles are able to sustain action for a much longer period of time. Okay, so when you're thinking about your fast and smooth muscles, like you're using your fast muscle to do a punch. You're using your slow fiber muscles to run a marathon. Okay, and you can, and we'll talk about kind of the variation distribution of those here in a sec. Okay, so when we're talking about the distribution of these muscles, one of the things that you can think of is kind of You might hear like in some different organisms, you have like white meat and dark meat. Like if you're talking about not cats. Oh, sorry, we've been doing the cat dissection, but talking about in chickens or something like that, right? If you've got the breast tissue, that's mostly white muscle or white meat, right? And then you've got the thighs, which is going to be like darker meat, okay? And that's because of the composition of muscles. So the white musculature is generally going to be more fast muscle than slow muscle, and red musculature is going to be generally more slow muscle versus fast. And the reason why is because of the distribution of that myoglobin. So your fast muscles don't have very much myoglobin, so they're going to appear lighter in color than say your thigh muscle or thigh muscles in chickens. Again, using a chicken as an example, right? Because they're going to appear darker because they have more myoglobin. Okay, so they have more of that red muscle because they have more slow switch muscle in that area. When we're talking about humans and distribution, generally our muscles are relatively evenly distributed. There are things you can do that can up the relative percentages in different groups of muscles. Like if you're training for a marathon, right, you can actually affect the distribution of the type of muscle fiber that's there. You can have more tears and you can have buildup in your slow twitch muscles, which allows for more sustained contraction and longer ability for those muscles to function. Okay, so like I said here, you can actually condition muscles to do what you need them to do. Okay, so when we're talking about muscle conditioning here with your fast and slow muscles, it's not talking about tone or anything like that, which is something we'll talk about in another video. What we're talking about here is just conditioning those fibers to affect the distribution. Okay, so your muscle fibers are distributed based on your genetic makeup. Okay, some things are going to be, some people are just generally going to have more fast muscle versus slow muscle than other people. Okay, but you can increase the endurance or ability for those muscles to work. Okay, so if you do exercises that are more anaerobic, so that's like weightlifting, like kind of that high endurance, or not high endurance, but like kind of those fast like movements, things that like sprinting, those kinds of things that require you to, that you are not able to do the oxygen exchange for, you do more anaerobic respiration, you have an emphasis on developing the abilities of those fast twitch muscles. Okay, what this can lead to is hypertrophy in the muscles, especially the fast twitch muscles. So you're going to see those taking over more of the function of that particular part of the body, right? So like sprinters, for example, will do more of this anaerobic endurance exercises. So like sprinting, taking quick breaks, sprinting again, in order to build up their fast twitch muscles. If you're doing more aerobic endurance, or you're doing like slow kind of like sustained exercises, so like biking, running for long distances, those types of exercises are going to emphasize buildup in the slow twitch muscles. And what this ends up leading to is a larger size, obviously, but often more efficient in terms of metabolism. So these are able to utilize the oxygen they have more effectively to allow you to continue sustained contraction of that particular muscle. Right, so like you can't change the makeup, like the number that you have really. You can change the size and the ability for these muscle fibers to function, okay, just because you're using them in a particular way. So again, conditioning them to function in various ways. Okay? All right, so if you've got more questions about the types of skeletal muscles, let me know.